Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 658.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about the best stock of the decade. But before I get there, I want to share with you some other facts because this was an incredible decade. From 2010 to 2019, almost to 2020 now, we had outstanding performance. The S&P 500 averaged 13.3% per year, well above our long-term stock market average that we always talk about of 10%. The NASDAQ did even better. Technology stocks averaged 17.5% for the decade. Outstanding. And an interesting fact is it was the first 10-year period in history without a recession. So while we had a slightly negative year for the year, one down year during the whole decade, down about 4% last year, we did have the first 10-year period where there was no recession. I think that's because we had such a sharp turn down in 2007 and 8 in the Great Recession. We had a sharper stock market pullback. We had a real estate decline that was devastating. Everything that happened in that recession just seemed worse than usual. So it's not surprising to me that from that, we haven't had a recession since then. We've had a strong recovery and bounce back. And the economy is still looking like it's very strong with no recession in sight, in my opinion. When we look at what company did the best in dollar terms, starting from one capitalization and growing to another, this stock grew from $60 billion in 2010 to $860 billion today. Can you guess what it is? It was Amazon. So while Amazon grew into a behemoth, it only was the 27th best performing stock. It's no surprise that a tech stock, and particularly one that was an important tech company, grew into a major tech company during this last decade. And what really did well in the tech area were semiconductors. They were actually the number one performing industry for the decade. But when we look at individual stocks and what were the best performing stocks of the decade, I actually have two for you. One is the small stock that did the best, and the other is the large stock that did the best. So in other words, if we were looking at small caps, the best performing stock of the decade would be one you've probably never heard of, called Patrick Industries. And that was up 4,798% for the decade, growing into a $1.2 billion market capitalization. And if we're looking at the larger companies, when we look in the S&P 500, the very best stock for the 10 years from 2010 to 2020 was Netflix. Netflix, of course, was the N in the FANG acronym, and Netflix was up 3,726.2% in 10 years. Its stock was $7 in 2010 and now is around $300. With Netflix doing so well, of course, Amazon and Disney are right behind them, competing with them for streaming business. So we'll see if their market share gets eroded in the future. But one thing is certain, watching movies seems to be a favorite pastime, and one that I don't see changing anytime soon. The average person spends 9 years of their life watching television. So now that you know this information, what can you do with it? Well, trying to find the next best stock of the decade is like finding a needle in a haystack. So the best thing to do is own the whole sector. So I recommend that if you have sectors that you think will do well, you add them to your overall general asset allocation, because you're always going to have a large cap allocation of large companies like the S&P 500. You're going to have medium-sized companies in your mid-cap allocation. You're going to have smaller companies in your small cap allocation. International, emerging markets, which are smaller international companies, of course. So you're going to have those general asset classes. You can also add real estate in there, real estate investment trusts. But then you can add your favorite sector. And the easiest way to do that is to pick some ETFs that represent the whole sector. So if you wanted to buy the whole semiconductor sector, you definitely could do that. And of course, if there's companies that you're familiar with that are growing companies, use that as your first filter to study a stock. Don't make it your only reason to buy that stock. Make sure that you research the company, their revenues, their growth rate. Are they profitable? These are things that you need to know before buying an individual stock, rather than just buying it because you like that company or you happen to use their product. So do your research. You can go to yahoo.com and look at their finance page and do a lot of stock screening research over there. So if there's companies that you want to look at, you can also see if industry analysts are recommending that a particular stock is a buy or if a particular stock is a sell. But that's a great place to start doing some stock research if you want to look at individual stocks and check it out. No one knows what the next decade will bring, but what we do know is we'll probably have some ups and we'll probably have some downs. We'll have some surprises, we'll have some good things that happen, we'll have some bad things that happen. And overall, the market is going to take it in stride. It is going to have some pullbacks, it is going to have some scary times, it is going to have some euphoric times, kind of like the time that we're in right now. But the important thing to know is that over time, the market averages out. And it was really interesting to me to see that over a 20-year period, any 20-year period in the stock market, 100% of the time, there have been positive returns. So that tells us if you plan to hold stocks for 20 years, 100% of the time, your returns have been positive. Can we guarantee that in the future? No, we can't. But we can say that that's a pretty incredible number to be able to say 100% of the time the market has gone up in any 20-year period. Another good reason why you want to be a long-term investor, hold for the long term and not get swayed by short-term market movements, getting overly confident or overly fearful. Keeping the long-term perspective as an investor and holding your emotions in check is what's going to bring you success as an investor. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And don't forget, we still have our holiday podcast and book review contest going, where you have 20 prizes available to win. So your chances of winning are really great. I'm giving away 10 of my Wealthy Mindset Blueprint audio sets valued at $197. 5 of my Wealth Heirs books, personalized and signed by me, and that was named one of Book Authority's all-time best wealth books. And 5 people will win a one-on-one wealth mentoring session with me. All you need to do is leave a podcast review on iTunes, or if you have an Android, leave it on Stitcher.com, STITCHER.com. And if you leave it on another site like Spotify, you can email and let me know that you've left a review at lpjhome@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to put your name in the drawing as well. For every podcast review, your name goes in the drawing once. For every Amazon.com book review, your name goes in the drawing twice, and winners will be announced on the first podcast in January. Good luck. Again, you have a really great chance of winning. And if one of your New Year's resolutions is to become more familiar with financial topics, don't forget on my website, lindapjones.com/podcasts, are all 650 of my podcasts with every topic that you can imagine. I call it a wealth mentoring library because you can go there and learn anything for free. Just put whatever topic you're interested in the upper right-hand corner in the search box and search for the thing that you want to know more about. And if you're interested in my Investing Academy, the VIP experience, check it out on the front page of my website. There's a special price for a limited time. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.